First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'ashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I wanted to go into how things are speeding up, okay? The prophecies are speeding up. And scripture that comes to mind as I'm saying that, Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 2, it says, "And Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." Right, and this is going into the prophecies, right? The visions. Every single prophecy has its exact date, day, year, hour, second, when it's supposed to take place, okay? And it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, right? We're seeing the prophecy speaking, okay? And they're not lying. They're happening exactly as the scriptures have outlined. It says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, right? So tarry goes into, feels like it's taking a while, feels like it's delaying. Right? Even though it feels like it's taking forever, wait for it, because it's gonna happen 100%. Okay, as the scripture says, the words of this book are faithful and true. Okay, everything that's written based on prophecy is going to happen. Okay, 100%. So dealing with the prophecies today is the fact that World War III, right, as it says in Revelation, right, one woe. In Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12, it says, "One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter." Right? When you go into what this was talking about, right, from verse 1 to verse 10, verse 11, it was talking about World War I. Right? That was the first woe. Okay, which was actually prophesied in the scriptures. Okay, when it's talking about the locusts, and the locusts sounded like horses, right? All of this was going into the dogfights, right? The planes that would dogfight in the skies, right? You had one guy in the front maneuvering, and you had a guy in the back with a machine gun shooting. So this was all talking about World War I. And it said, "One woe was past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter." Right? And that's exactly what happened. Right? One woe came after World War II. Right? And soon that third woe is coming, which it says that in Revelation also, which is talking about World War III. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, and that's what we're awaiting every single day, right? We're looking at the news, what's happening, and putting the pieces together. So here recently, right, in the last couple of days, we've had significant escalation when it comes to what's allowed on the world stage. So I'm going to play this video real quick and bring out some Twitter posts and just seal the deal with that Ezekiel chapter 38.
For Joe Biden to make this decision now, after months of deliberating over whether or not he was going to allow the Ukrainians to use these long-range army tactical missile systems. They are ballistic missiles launched from ground-based systems against targets inside Russia, something that the Americans seem to have been hesitant to allow, concerned that it might then prompt an escalatory response by Russia. But according to reports in the New York Times, the sudden decision by the North Koreans to join Russian forces on the battlefield at the moment inside Russia, fighting against Ukrainian troops that have seized parts of the Kursk region, that is the trigger for this decision by the United States. And now all eyes surely are going to be on other allies of Ukraine, the UK, for example, which has for a long time also been asked by the Ukrainians to allow its forces to use their Storm Shadow cruise missiles against targets inside Russia. the British have been more forward-leaning, more seemingly willing to allow the Ukrainians to use these weapons, but had been waiting for a decision by the United States. Now that seems to have come. All eyes, of course, are going to be on what Keir Starmer, who's going to be here as well in Rio, will say, and whether he will confirm that British missiles can also be used by the Ukrainians.
Right, you heard it right there. Right, Biden gives Ukraine the green light to use U.S. missiles against Russia. Okay, and ultimately, what it's going to lead to is America getting involved against Russia. Right, ultimately, what the scriptures say is that the least of the flock shall draw them out. Right, which when you actually go into what that's talking about, it's talking about those Jewish people, right, the Israelis. They're going to be the ones that draw America into World War III. Right, and I always bring it out. The way that's going to happen is because first you had Israel versus Hamas, right, Israel, Palestine. Then it upgraded to Israel versus Lebanon, right, Hezbollah. Then it upgraded to Israel versus, soon right now it's at Israel, Iran. It's getting to that point, right? They've already shot missiles at each other. And who's back in Iran? Russia. Who's back in Israel? America. And that's how you get America versus Russia. So that's the primary way. But even on other sides of the battle, right, this is another way that America can get involved, okay, in that conflict. Okay, is Ukraine. Ukraine. Because literally America is funding Ukraine to keep on fighting Russia. Right? Without America's pretty much help, Ukraine will literally collapse instantly. Okay, America is sending billions of dollars to Ukraine and Israel every single month, week, year, and it's not stopping, right? They have interests. So Biden gave the green light to Ukraine to use U.S. missiles against Russia. Now, I have some Twitter posts here, bookmark. And it says, I'll start at the bottom. It says Russia to NATO FAFO. It says, so I'm going to go down actually. So Putin had a new nuclear doctrine. It says months before signing Russia's updated nuclear protocol into law, Putin outlined key elements of the draft of the Security Council meeting on nuclear deterrence. The draft of the updated principles expands the category of states and military alliances subject to nuclear deterrence. This includes where the enemy, using conventional weapons, creates a critical threat to our sovereignty. Okay, when you go into what he was talking about, what he was talking about, he pretty much said, following Putin's signing of Russia's updated nuclear doctrine into law, which allows them to launch nukes at countries backing attacks from Ukraine. Here are some of their most powerful weapons. Okay, and that whole bill Putin was talking about, the updated doctrine, was that if any countries, okay, are giving Ukraine weapons and Ukraine is using those weapons to attack Russia, okay, Russia has the right now. Russia is going to attack those countries with nuclear missiles. Now, one guy did comment, I just read it right now, he said, the Russians are not going to respond with nukes if a few ATACMS or storm shadows hit stuff in Russia, even if they hit important stuff. But the Russians will respond, and they have promised that response will be tangible if your missiles blow up stuff in our country. Right, so they said, hey, ultimately the nukes are the end-all be-all. Right, but hey, if you're attacking us, right, if Ukraine is attacking us, let's say with if Ukraine is attacking Russia with American missiles, hey, we have the right to attack America. That's literally what Russia just said. Okay, and that's ultimately the prophecy coming to pass of Russia being that guard, right? Russia going direct head on with America, Babylon the Great. So I have another post here. It says Russia starts building nuclear resistant shelters. Russia has started mass-producing KUBM mobile bomb shelters designed to protect against nuclear shockwaves, radiation, and conventional threats for up to 48 hours. These shelters, which house 54 people and resemble reinforced shipping containers, are being touted as essential for citizen safety amid rising tensions. This comes as Russia revises its nuclear doctrine, lowering the threshold for nuclear use. Under the new policy, Moscow reserves the right to respond with nuclear weapons to conventional attacks. that threaten its sovereignty, especially those involving nuclear-backed adversaries, aka America, aka Israel. The decision, aka the United Kingdom, says the decision was made after the U.S. had greenlit Ukraine's use of long-range missiles, enabling strikes deeper into Russian territory. Okay, so, hey, why is Russia building nuclear shelters? Right, because it's going to get to that point. As the prophecy says, Babylon is going to be a complete desert, right? So, Russia is going to shoot missiles over here, but once the Americans see nuclear missiles coming over here, they're also going to hit that button and strike Russia, strike Iran, and whatever adversaries America has, which ultimately, as it says, everybody, all nations are going to shoot missiles upon America, even America's allies, such as the European Union and NATO, because they're going to realize that this place is the problem. Okay, let's keep going. Canada backs U.S. decision on long-range missiles for Ukraine. Canadian Defense Minister William Blair announced support for the U.S. decision to allow Kyiv to use long-range missiles to strike Russia. Right, so Canada also on the support. Here, UK won't confirm whether Storm Shadow missiles can be used to target Russia. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy, I have nothing to say about this because I am not going to go into details of operational decisions, which frankly would be a gift to Putin. We provide assistance to Ukraine in accordance with international humanitarian law. Right, so he's pretty much dodging the question because the answer is the UK also, is going to supply missiles to Ukraine. Okay, they're all in on it. Another post here. What are ATACMS? ATACMS. U.S. missiles now authorized for use inside Russia. ATACMS. I don't even know how to say that. I'm going to say ATACs are long-range ballistic missiles designed for precision strikes, capable of traveling up to 190 miles. They can target enemy forces, infrastructure, and equipment with devastating accuracy. These missiles, fired from mobile launchers, offer a significant advantage in battlefield versatility. They're highly effective against concentrated troop formations, air defense systems, and high-value strategic targets. Recently authorized by Biden for use by Ukraine inside Russia, ATACs are now at the center of a major policy shift in U.S. military support. Right, and this all goes back to Ukraine already shot those missiles. Ukraine fired 6 ATAC missiles into Russia's Bryansk region. 5 missiles were intercepted, while fragments from one caused a fire at a military facility. No casualties or serious damage have been reported, the ministry confirmed. Russia has accused Ukraine of escalating the conflict by deploying long-range U.S.-supplied missiles in the border area. Right, so ultimately, they instantly used those missiles once they got that green light. And it's funny, this comment, this guy right here, Son of Thunder, he said the American people don't want this war, right? And the thing is that no matter whether these Americans want the war or not, war is coming to the soils of America. It's inevitable. It's what's written. It says the U.S. will do anything to stop Trump. Couldn't cheat, couldn't kill him. Option 3 is nuclear war. Right? And this guy doesn't understand that it's not the U.S. Right? The being that's doing this is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is the one that's controlling the minds of these politicians, the mind of these kings, these presidents, to ultimately fulfill prophecy. Let's get that in Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. Right? So the Lord is the one that's controlling everything. Even every single thing that happens in everybody's life to the ultimate detail, he is controlling it. There's no such thing as free will. Our lives are already written. So when you see all these things happening, right, you're not supposed to be troubled. Right, because you know that ultimately the end goal is the same, World War III. And if you don't get right, you're going to get left. You're going to get destroyed. And a funny thing I've been seeing recently is that you have all these people, right? A big thing now is, Donald Trump's about to get elected, January, whatever. Right, and a big thing with that is that he is calling out all the bullshit, about pretty much Big Pharma and the pharmaceutical companies and the food. He has this guy called RFK Jr., and pretty much he appointed RFK Jr. to be the head of the health and human, not health and human services. Maybe it's that health and human services, but pretty much being able to control the food. Okay, and you have RFK talking about, oh, we have to take away red 40 from the foods. We're gonna take away the fluoride from the water. We're gonna stop using seed oils. Okay, and he's bringing out the facts about how these things are bad for you. And you have all these people on Twitter celebrating, oh, RFK is gonna come in, blah blah blah. America's gonna finally come back. Wrong. I'm reading all this and I'm thinking all these people have hope that this place is coming back, right? They're putting their trust in America. And let's see what it says about trusting in America. As it says in the scripture, not America, but Egypt. Okay, that's another code name for America. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1, it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with the covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Right, and that's going into these 2/3, right? These wicked ass Israelites that rather go down to this government and get help than go and seek Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says that walk down to go into Egypt. Okay, the Egypt here is talking about America. Okay, because America in the scriptures is called Babylon the Great. And another name for Babylon the Great, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Right, so Babylon is also called Egypt. And that's how you get America is called Egypt in the scriptures. So going back to Isaiah chapter 30, this is talking about today. It says that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Right, because trusting in the shadow of Egypt, going into trusting in this government in their ways, right, having hope in this place, it's only going to lead to your own demise and confusion. Because here it is, you're thinking that this place is going to get better and better, but it's not. Okay, it's all going to fall. So when I see all these people getting hyped about Trump coming in, RFK about to fix all the food, all the water, hey, we're finally making a comeback, blah, 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 I just laugh because they're in for a rude awakening. So, who is running our fucking country? The elites. Right, this is a perfect plan. And ultimately, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So, let's get the scriptures going into World War III. Like I said, Ezekiel chapter 38. In verse 1 it says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right, and when it's talking about Gog, the land of Magog, it's talking about Russia. Okay, the way you know that is when you go into land of Magog today, and you search up where it's at, you'll find that it's exactly where Russia is at. Gog, Rosh, Meshech, Tubal. You can see it in the top right, Russia. Right, so those ancient land maps or land regions, okay, today they signify for Russia. Okay, which that's what it's talking about. It's just that in the scriptures it's not going to say Russia. You know, that word wasn't even invented. Okay, we're reading English right now, so you can actually search up on Google, right? Gog, Magog, Russia. Gog and Magog are figures in the Bible and other literature that have been interpreted in a variety of ways, including as a reference to Russia. In the Hebrew Bible, Gog and Magog represent a prophesied invader of Israel and the land he comes from. In the New Testament, they represent evil forces that oppose the people of God. Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 39 describes a great battle between the people of Israel and the people of Magog, led by a king named Gog, that will take place in the mountains of Israel. Okay, so end time alliance. Some books such as the Gog and the Magog end time alliance, Israel, Russia, and Syria in Bible, prophesied by Gary DeMar, interpret Gog and Magog as an end time alliance between Israel, Russia, and Syria. Okay, and that's not right. There's not going to be an alliance. Okay, so let's break it down. It says, and say, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, And I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right, so this is going into how the Lord is going to turn thee back. Okay, he's going to turn back Russia, aka Gog and Magog, back to that war-like mind state. He's going to bring them back to fight, okay, to not get pushed around, right? Because there's a time in history, more on point, the Cold War, where Russia was a force to be reckoned with, right? Nobody could tell Russia what to do. They're on a rampage, okay? Any type of escalation, they were on it, okay? And the Lord is going to bring them back to that state. And it says all types of army, horses, horsemen, so going into all their military. Okay, the Russians are going to get involved. It says Persia, which Persia, today's Iran, right? Iran, before it was called Iran, was called Persia. Okay, had to change the name. So Persia or Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Okay, and that's a key point, is it says that Russia is going to be a guard unto these other nations. Russia is going to be at the forefront, leading, okay, World War III. And all these other nations under Russia, because Russia is pretty much the biggest force to combat America. Okay, right next to China and probably North Korea. So that's why you have the BRICS currencies, the BRICS countries, right? It's pretty much an alliance, BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And under the BRICS so-called title, you have like 30, 40, 50 countries that are already waiting to get in or are already in. And pretty much BRICS is, they're making up their own currency. They're getting all their shit established to be able to combat the West, right? Established a new currency in a new world. And ultimately, that's going to lead to World War III, right? Because America is not going to leave the U.S. dollar as being the hegemony of the entire world. Right? Give me a second. Like I said, America is not going to leave the dollar being the force in the entire world without fighting for it. So, hey, that's where we're going to get to. And it says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Right, so this is going into how Russia, all these nations, BRICS currencies, or not BRICS currencies, BRICS nations, they're going to go attack the so-called Israelis, Jewish, right? And slowly but surely it's going to get to that point. Like I said, the whole escalation of Israel, Palestine, Israel, Lebanon, Israel, Iran, right? Russia backs Iran, America, Israel. But before Russia goes directly with America, it's going to wipe out Israel, and then it's going to go to America. It says that in verse 9, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Right, so they're going to be over the land like a cloud. That's going into all the missiles that are going to be shot. It's going to be covering the skies like a cloud. Perfect example of this is the movie 300. Movie 300, Arrows, Sky. When they were fighting the Persians, and all the Persians shot their arrows at the same time, this is what it looked like. When you see all those dots, this is not really high quality, but all those dots are literally arrows that were shot at the same time. And that's how it's going to be, but with missiles. So it says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. right? So while they're pretty much destroying the so-called Jewish Israelis, that land, they're going to have an evil thought. They're going to say, let's go to the land of unwalled villages, which is talking about America, right? The reason it's called the land of unwalled villages, okay? You can call every single state a village, okay? But they're unwalled. Even though they have lines on the map, okay, there's no walls to literally separate the states. The land of unwalled villages, okay? It says, I will go to them that are rest, that dwell safely, right? Because all the people here don't think that this place is ever going to go down, okay? They see that America has this military industrial complex, right? Huge military, biggest in the world, and they think, oh, we're never going to go down. But one press of a button, and it's literally over with. So that's what it's going into. And when we see news articles like this, right, posts talking about Ukraine shot 6 missiles from America to Russia, and Russia talking about countries that do that, we can shoot nukes upon them. Hey, this is literally the policy or the legislation being set forth right in front of us. Right, it's going to get to that point. This guy said, pray this doesn't get out of control before January. And we should be praying against that. Pray that it does get out of control before January. Because the faster all this happens, ultimately the faster Yahweh Shai comes back. So, just informing on that, bringing out the news. Hopefully this is edifying with that. And give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.